Greetings, nerds. This is CNN Nerd. I'm your host, Sarah Belmont, and with me, as always, is our Mr. Producer, Will Polk. How are you doing tonight, Will?
Doing very well, Sarah. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving break.
I had a good Thanksgiving break. How about you?
I did. It was a very restful time, and and then we come back and ready to go talk about some Andor and Guardians holiday special. You know, that got me into the holiday spirit. So I'm ready. Yeah, I had a good time.
See, when you say it like that, like this is what's been bothering me all day. I feel like I should be well rested. I feel like I should be just like, let's talk some of this geek stuff. And I'm just not. I'm just mentally, I don't know what is going on with me right now. But I've watched stuff. I've watched stuff. But for some reason, I got caught up on Titans. Yeah, I know. I think I've now watched more of the season of Titans than Will. Thank you very much.
You have.
Yeah, I'm caught up on Stargirl. I'm caught up on
I gotta get caught up on that.
Yeah. And then the last thing I watched this week was the Guardian special, but I don't really feel like I watched it. I really don't. I really don't. It was bad. And I did watch Andor. I don't think I was in the right mental headspace to watch Andor and fully engage. I think I just needed to fill time, and so I was just like, I'm just gonna it felt more like work rather than I want to sit down and watch this.
See, that's how I felt. That's how I felt when I was watching Titans. But that's that's funny.
Oh, Titans! Don't get me wrong. I didn't say that watching Titans was something I wanted to do. I definitely do other stuff while I watch both Titans and Stargirl. I'm just forewarning people. And I feel as though every time we talk Andor, I say this. I know it's a good show. I know it's well written. For some reason, though, I'm just not as fully immersed in this story. And I feel like it's because it's airing week to week. I don't know.
See, no, it should not. See, I don't know. We'll get into it more in a bit, but I'm glad that it's week to week, because this show it's like The Boys and other really awesome show in House of the Dragon and things, where it needs time to breathe, because it's just so well done and just so great. I mean, the feelings I had when House of the Dragon ended, where I'm just like, damn, I need the next season now. I mean, that's how I'm feeling like Andor. Whenever Wednesday rolled around this weekend, there was no new show. I was I was the TV depressed, because I'm like, man, there's no. I gotta find something fill this void, because other things aren't doing it for me, like Andor and House of the Dragon and other things that we've talked about lately has been doing.
Right. And for me, I'm the opposite, where I know it's a well-written show. I understand they're using a lot of metaphors.
Yeah. Well, we could get into it.
It's also a surprise, but it's just, there's something about the pace where for me, I would probably have been more hooked if a lot of this was clumped together. I mean, a lot of the season did feel like 3-episode arcs. And I loved the first 3 episodes and being able to sit down and feeling as though I finished a chapter. And I do like how this ended. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, I don't have a lot of thoughts.
Well, you always say that, and then you do have a lot of thoughts. But I know there was some news things that happened today that maybe we can zip through real fast.
Well, sure. Are you talking about, so you want me to talk about things that happened today, or the things that happened 2 weeks ago that you have on this rundown?
Well, I mean, obviously, given that we are talking about Disney, I mean, I know a lot of people know well about this, and Bob Iger's back, and and that's all we need to say. I mean, the House of Mouse is in good hands again.
Yeah, yeah, the House of the Mouse is in good hands. Okay, so I don't know about this project. We'll probably watch the trailer. I did not watch the trailer for this, but the Cocaine Bear,
Mhm.
I know it's like it's one of those Sharknado things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it is. So it's I saw like this Cocaine Bear thing trending, I guess even before the trailer dropped, and then I was like, what this could possibly be, and then I did finally get around to watching the trailer today, and so it is based off a true story. It definitely is that shark. When you watch the trailer, it definitely has those Sharknado vibes, action comedy, horror, humor, dark humor, and all. But it is based off a true story where there was a drug smugglers who did drop 40 bags, which is basically like 80 pounds of cocaine in the backwoods. I think it was in Georgia, and a bear did eat it. Now, the obviously the film takes creative license as far as what the bear does after ingesting the cocaine, but in real life, the bear actually OD'd. I mean, if you eat 80 pounds worth of cocaine, I think anything would obviously would OD. But yeah, that's what this new film is based off of, that true life event, and then of course it goes into the Sharknado vibes and all that. But it's coming out in February.
Awesome. I totally was awake while you explained the movie to me. All right, great. What else? So a trailer did drop today. That's In the Mouse of House, the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I did watch this trailer. And then I made the mistake of watching Kind of Funny react to the trailer where they broke down like scene by scene, and I'm like, you guys are telling me way too much about this. I'm okay, in my opinion, this isn't the best trailer.
Mm.
I'm excited for Guardians 3. I am.
Mm.
It's just that I still remember hearing things about whatever they showed during Comic-Con. So I
Mm-hmm.
guess I was just expecting a little bit more. And I know it's a teaser, but then that just worries me because I'm like, I don't want to watch the full movie before watching the full movie, guys. So I don't, come on. But I think, and then you also have the Black Panther trailer to compare it to. Like, in my opinion, there could have been a little bit more oomph to it. But yeah, I mean, the crew's back, and those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I liked the trailer. I thought it was, especially after watching the holiday special, it landed differently for me. Because now that knowing what we know, even though the holiday special was a bottle thing, but nothing's a true bottle thing in the MCU. It really. And also, I did think about Comic-Con, and obviously there were a lot of focus on Rabbit, Rocket, my friend Rabbit.
I wish you hadn't corrected yourself. I was like, that is so cool. You feel close enough, Tim, to call him Rabbit. Awesome.
Yeah, Rocket. Possibly, meeting his end in volume 3, and of course all the things James Gunn has said as far as this probably being the last film, and also I enjoyed it. I think the soundtrack having Space Hog was like the right touch. I mean, James Gunn really knows how to like set the mood, and it definitely set the vibes for again that I felt was missing in volume 2. And so I mean, I'm really looking forward to this third film.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll figure out what they're doing with Gamora because she definitely is in that trailer.
Yep.
Um, And then the last bit of news is Star Wars related. Oh no, that's not the last bit of news because, okay, I did not watch this. I forgot. I had it on my list of things to do. There was snow. I had to shovel. It's been already a long night for me. But Lucasfilm did drop the first teaser trailer for the fifth Indiana Jones movie, which is titled which is titled Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and is slated to be released on June 30th. Now I heard some things. Are they trying to make him look younger?
They did. They're not trying. They did make him look. Yeah. And our first, and it actually looked good. I mean, the de-aging, what they did in that trailer, because I first heard about it, I think in Empire Magazine, and then but seeing it in effect, I was like, all right, that's.
What was that Robert De Niro movie on Netflix a few years back?
Oh, was it Irishman?
The Irishman, yeah, because I heard, I still have never watched that 3-hour monstrosity, but I heard the de-aging looked fine. The problem was when there was action.
Yeah, but there was and in the trailer there was action, and it was like, okay, that looks like a young Harrison. That definitely looks like a young Harrison Ford, and it believable. Yeah, it was really, really well done. Yeah, it was like
maybe
a deep fake.
Someone took some notes. Someone took
some notes, and the technology has evolved for sure.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see.
Yeah, but a lot of the things in the trailer, I mean, I didn't see Mads Mikkelsen's character, but did see some of the other things that have been teased as far as from the parade with the Apollo astronauts, because I guess the film is set in the late 60s. So I think when they're celebrating the moon landing. So, to I guess make Indy age appropriate. So you did see some of those vibes in there, and I didn't like Indy 4. I mean, but who did? But I'm actually excited for this one.
Good. I know I've seen the Indiana Jones movies, but it's never been a franchise that I've been like, yay, or I don't have nostalgia for it.
Yeah.
But I definitely remember being scared. Like that's where my phobia of snakes and spiders come from. Watching the old, I had
a true life. Yeah, over Thanksgiving, I had a real life Indiana Jones moment.
No,
I was hiking.
No.
I did. Okay.
No. La. The last bit of news is about Star Wars, as we finally have some details about Star Wars Acolyte, and it's been officially announced that The Mandalorian Season 3 will premiere on March 1st, 2023.
Yep. And as far as the Acolyte, we did get some more details that it was confirmed that it is set about 100 years before the events of the prequel, and it really gets into how the Sith infiltrates the Jedi. So, and it's in production now. So we can
go to a galaxy far, far away and continue the discussion that we've already started about Andor finale. Where Will's going to do most of the talking.
And as Sarah always said, she said she's doing most of the talking. So go ahead.
No, well, I just know that when you watch this, you instantly texted me and was just like, yeah, this is good. And I told you, I will get around to it. I'm in the middle of something right now. And then I did watch it. I watched it. And I've listened to what feels like 6 reviews of it. So I've heard a lot of discussion about this.
Yeah, that's where you made your mistake. It's like too many people, too much noise, and too much analysts.
Well, no, it's just too much of me being like, I know when a show hasn't got me, when people talk about episodes and I'm still trying to understand the names. Like I know who Andor is, I know who Mon Mothma is, I know who Luthen is, but some of these side characters, like I know who Cyril and Deirdre is. I know them, and I know they were about to kiss, but they didn't. But
Yeah, see,
there was some serious thing going on there.
Yeah, see, I don't want to still, since you brought it up, let's go ahead and tackle that issue. So I've heard a lot of people talk about the shipping and stuff, trying to ship them and all. And when I will say, when I watched that scene the first time raw, without hearing any other people's thoughts about it, I was like, my thought was, I hope they don't go there, because I was reading it more that she was just in a state of shock from almost getting killed by the mob, more so than she's like got the hots for this guy or whatever, or they were going to cheapen the moment by like doing the cliched kiss just because he rescued her. So I like the way that they just sort of left it. To me, it was left. You could and I guess that was the genius of the storytelling and of the directing at that moment, because it did leave it open to multiple interpretations as far as how people read it. I didn't read it in a sense of like they were about to kiss or anything. I was just like, she was just in a state of shock and like kept gathering her wits, and whenever she saw it was him, it was just like, I should say thank you, and and that's not a place where she's used to being vulnerable, because she's always in this, she has this illusion of control and being in control of everything, and in that moment she wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, yeah, that's the best interpretation I've heard about the scene, is that for the first time, arguably all season, you see Deirdre out on the front line, and suddenly she's not as in control as she thought she was, which is a whole metaphor for the entire empire. With this season, is like their illusion of control is their downfall, and it's just a matter of waking people up to realize that that's all control is. It's an illusion. So to come out from under it, you have to rise up and fight it. But I think it's interesting to just focus on Deirdre in that moment, because I wasn't thinking she was going to kiss him at all. Cyril has the hots for her, okay? Come on. That guy, I mean, he might have had a little thing for Cassian for like 5 seconds, but man, the moment he was interrogated by her, like he's all in on that. So I thought he was going to try to kiss her. I didn't think she would reciprocate. But
is it that he has
the fact,
is it the hots for her, or is it the hots for the Empire?
No, I think he likes her because he sees himself in her. No, don't get it twisted, gross people. He sees like he admires her. Like, and I do. I don't think it's like the Empire. I think there is something there where, and he's got mommy issues, so I'm not surprised by this. But I think that they left it up to interpretation, because arguably, even though they're on the wrong side, these two characters are just fascinating, because we've never seen, like, they are evil, but they're also, there's something about them where I'm not going to say there's this humanity, but there's just this feeling like we understand them. We understand their motivations. They're fully fleshed out. But there's still a lot of mystery to them, and what their overall goal is. And I don't know, it's for 11 episodes, as much as this show is called Cassian, I felt like they did a good job of fleshing out these two characters. I know their names. Okay. Yeah. So I think that I'm happy that their storylines have not ended. And they've kind of left it open as to what will happen next. I mean, my final point about Cyril and his love of Deirdre is like, the dude was on a mission to get Cassian. He sees her fall and immediately like, nope, mission aborted. I'm here to protect Deirdre. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was off the prize with that. So, all right. What else did you think about the finale, Will?
So the finale in and of itself, we began and ended at Ferrix, obviously, and what I liked was just sort of the symmetry because I have already started a rewatch of the series, and especially going back and rewatching those earlier episodes and then watching the finale. I mean, a lot of those, a lot of the things I had forgotten over the course of the weeks that the show's been on. And seeing them now in the context of the finale, they really do hit differently. And so this show, one, it is rewatchable. The first 3 episodes are still a slow burn, even in the rewatch, but not in a bad way. It does take a moment to really set the table, so to speak. But the other thing that I, as far as the episode itself, was revisiting some of the secondary characters, and that was the other thing that I thought, like Brasso, Bix, and even like Pat, Playgun, some of the other supporting characters. I mean, it really did this sense of community and how the Empire impacted this community really came through, in this finale. And again, and especially again, doing the rewatch now, the series, and watching the finale and seeing how really they really did develop all these secondary characters, so that at least for me, I felt invested in them and invested in seeing where they go next. Now that at the end of the episode, Brasso and Bix and the kid go off with the other daughter of Ferrix to a safe harbor, and then thinking about the 3rd episode where Andor talks about to Luthen, either he goes from the guy who either drop me off or drop me off somewhere and let me go my way, to now he is either take me in or kill me. And thinking about all the episodes in between, where we see Andor go from a person who was scavenger and had like Marva said, had all these various threads in him to do good things, but in his journey throughout this season, things happened that really refined and brought into focus for Andor why the Empire is so evil, and then so it was an organic radicalization that happened, instead of it just sort of like one day he's just scavenger and the next day he's like I'm a rebel. So the journey was necessary to do all these steps in between as far as the storytelling to really make it believable how this guy ended up with the rebellion.
Mm-hmm. Right. I did pick up on the shade you threw the latest trilogy. I did pick up on that. Yeah. No, I think overall, I think that was very surprising to realize as the story unfolded what they were doing with Cassian, in the sense of I'm still stuck on this, guys. He was literally looking for his sister the very first time we see him in this season. Have not circled back to that. But they set it up to be someone who's clearly a scavenger of some sort, but trying to find his sister, to become someone who is ready to rebel. And I think I think that the bigger triumph is not just that it wasn't solely focused on Cassian, but it was about waking up more people. And I'm going to continue to say "wake me up," so just because they said it like 50 times in that whole episode. But
still in the sky.
yeah. So I think that overall, like, whether we talk about Cassian, whether we talk about Luthen, Mon Mothma, Cyril, Deirdre, these characters all, I think the bigger triumph of them is that the story itself is much more bigger than just them. And so it's not just about Cassian becoming the hero, it's about him being a part of this bigger movement that leads to his death.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah, even a part of the journey, which we did theorize, and it was confirmed that while he was in prison, he was literally built, worked on the things that's going to lead to his own demise.
Yeah, but you also, I think it's a more interesting story than what we had originally expected and what we've seen Star Wars do in the past.
Yeah.
So I'm good with it. I'm not shipping Cassian with Bix, just to let everyone know. I'm not going to get on that because I'm a very much a Jin or what was her name?
Yeah, it was Jin.
Yeah, Jin and Cassian shipper. May they rest in peace together.
Together.
Yes.
Yeah. One of the things you did whenever you're talking about the sleep and the complacency, that especially that Marva brought up in her speech during that really resonated with everyone, and was also thinking about the rebellion too, because it seemed, as far as where we encounter these folks in the story, because even though we encounter Luke Skywalker 5 years later, he's still in that place where, at least on Tatooine and in his part of the galaxy, it is kind of the still asleep, in the sense that, when we first meet Luke in A New Hope, he's like, this is too big, he's got friends who's gone off to the Imperial Academy, but whenever he was challenged or first met with the challenge of dealing with the Empire, when he's introduced to 3PO and R2D2 and his uncle, they're and talking to Obi-Wan, he's like, I can't do that. I gotta stay here and work on the harvest. I gotta do this. The Empire's too big. And so it really deepens the tapestry of like the Star Wars galaxy, that even especially now where we see this early seeds of the rebellion, that even 4 or 5 years after the events that we're dealing with now here in Andor, there's still the Empire is still has its grips very, very, very tight on the galaxy, and a lot of people are still in that mindset that this is just, I know that I have no love for the Empire, but it's just too big for me. So I really I like the way that when you look at this series in the context of the overall Star Wars universe, just seeing how people in their own individual stories come to the sense that I've got to do something, and I think that's one of the genius things that George Lucas did do with the original Star Wars and creating this universe, as far as all these people are just run of the mill normal folks who at the end of the day, they weren't senators or rich people or whatever, but just real solitary folk who just came together, got sick of what they were seeing, and did something about it. And so that was another great thing about this series, in showing that through all these, these brand new characters that weren't force sensitive, but just, just normal folks who like, enough's enough. We got to do something. And I will say I'm glad BMO made it through the protests, because I thought when that Imperial soldier was coming up there, I thought he was gonna like get a blaster out and blow him to bits, but he just put a cloak over him.
Yeah. What did you think about Mon Mothma?
Oh yeah, I definitely wanted to. So we talked about this during our reviews, as far as the sacrifices that Luthen, Mon Mothma, and others have made, and then where was she going to go? And I know we didn't get a chance to go into it too in depth as far as her daughter, because we talked about Black Panther on our last podcast, but she between her daughter basically going into the old ways and seeing the doing the betroth with the money launderer, and then knowing that she knew basically either she knows everybody's under surveillance and stuff, and she realized that her driver is probably a spy, and either because of what she's been doing now working with Luthen, or just because she's just that savvy person to begin with, knew to say I need privacy, but then she started talking in code with her husband to sort of like set him up for the fall to cover her tracks. Was like, okay, she gets it. It may come at the expense of her husband and her daughter, but but for the greater good, she's going to have to do some things that she just at least that doesn't want to do. At least in case of her daughter. With her husband, I guess she could be. Maybe she's indifferent. I mean, Perrin. Not that I felt bad for him, but I did kind of like, I was like, well, damn, he's just setting this dude up to like get taken in, but maybe he deserves it, especially given how he acts. But it was very, but again, it just showed the subterfuge that she's going to have to continue to engage in, and I think she realizes that. And it's just all the little subtle things that they do, as far as like with whenever she does her cloak, as far as like the pressure builds in, and then whenever she's relaxed, she like undoes it, and just the facial, a lot of things that the actress who plays Mon Mothma does so well is the facial acting more, and she really does emote all the conflict very well that comes across in the scenes when she's having to deal with certain things. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense why she basically ends up being one of the leaders of the rebellion, because again, we can't do these things and keep our hands clean. I mean, it does require sacrifice and getting our hands dirty, that sometimes may have gotten glossed over in some of the other versions of the story.
Yeah. Definitely. So I really liked the last scene of the episode, because I think like another big unanswered question for me with this season is how Luthen came like what Luthen saw in Cassian, and just, I mean, he was clearly there to kill him. So
Yeah.
I don't think all of the theories and speculation about that were spot on, but it is interesting how it's just like, okay, I'm here, kill me, I don't care. But we know that's not going to happen. He dies later. But yeah, I really like that for some reason. It's not necessarily a book ending, but considering like the first episode was really 3 episodes, and how that ended with Cassian and Luthen teaming up, like now we get, like, we come back to that point at the very end. So
yeah. I agree. Yeah, like I said, I can't. I know they are starting to film season 2, and well, will probably be more likely 2024 when this series returns. But like I said earlier, how we kind of jokingly felt about, with Kermit looking out the window on Sunday night with No House of the Dragon. That's how I felt with Andor, because I've said before that I thought that that this, as we were going through, that this would quickly become one of my favorite Star Wars, and it has. I mean, if I now that we have a full season, I can say without hesitation that it's right up there with Empire with me, and Mandalorian is too, for different reasons. But I think, but I think what really resonated with me with this series is it really expanded the Star Wars universe in a way that really showed as I said earlier, as we were talking about this series, how evil the Empire actually was, and really sort of lays out the reason why the rebellion really did take a hold, and then of course finally hearing Nemik's manifesto this episode, and then hearing that on top of what Luthen's speech earlier, and what Mon Mothma's going through, and then of course Marva's speech on Rix Road. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was. Yeah, we've talked about this. Yeah, things are predictable. I mean, we know where all the roads are going to lead to Scarif and Cass and Jen dying on the beach when the Death Star hits. But it's all the things in between the resolution of each arc that really just was just so compelling for me. That, like I said, I mean, it's right up there with me with House of Dragon as far as like top show for 2022.
Cool. I don't know how to follow up that speech, because I mean, it's pretty obvious my feelings are not exactly there. So I'm trying to figure out a way to like segue. I spoiled my thoughts on Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special when I said to everyone earlier in this show, I watched it, but I was definitely not like sitting on my couch watching it. I was just playing. I think it was cute. I really like the chemistry of Drax and Mantis. I think that this would have hit better for me had I been like maybe watching this during my Christmas break, rather than trying to cram it into a Thanksgiving break. But I mean, I like these characters. I like James Gunn's writing. I just, for whatever reason, was just not like, oh yay. And before I forget, this whole thing was kind of spoiled for me.
Oh, well, there you go.
So I made a mistake. Guys. Like, I did some traveling over the holiday break, and when I came back on a red eye. And so I didn't sleep for 24 hours. And while I was unpacking and just trying to like reorientate myself after that whole experience, I decided to put on like a YouTube show that I can just have play white noise in the background. And I saw Christian Harloff posted a like best MCU projects in phase 4. He completely spoiled the entire holiday special.
Oh God, no wonder.
Yeah, and I had no idea. Like, while I was listening, I was picking up. I'm like, wait a second, oh, he's doing this. Like, I swear, he just recorded it the day after he watched it, and so I was thinking to myself, dude, it just dropped. Why are you already giving all these details?
Yeah, gotta get those clicks.
Yeah, well, it wasn't really advertised for that, and I don't know. Even when people say, oh, things are going to be spoiled, if something literally just dropped, I mean, go ahead and spoil Infinity War and Endgame, but come on, something that just dropped the day before, don't say everything. So I kind of knew what was happening. So that's why I wasn't really fully paying attention, because I understood what story they were telling. But yeah, I mean, it's just a fun little group of characters where if I maybe had known less, I may have been more engaged than I really was. So.
Well, the only thing that I guess did come to spoiler territory for me was I did get spoiled about Mantis and being Quill's sister. But it was totally out of context. So when I saw it, it was out of context, and so I was like, oh, okay. But when I did watch the special, I was like, I did know that, I was kind of like looking for it, but James Gunn is such a good storyteller, and television, especially when I think about watching this show, I couldn't help but think about Peacemaker, and how he is really, he does so well with the medium of television. I think, because one of the things, we talked about with like, for example, Suicide Squad movie, with his feature length films, is sometimes they will go off. He'll tell a joke one too many times, and it just kind of like kills the momentum sometimes. But with this little bottle show, I mean, it is what it is, and it was just a nice change of pace, especially after watching Black Panther, and how heavy that film was in certain points, and also really phase 4 as a whole, given that it was, phase 4 is dealing with grief and loss and everything. This was a nice sort of transition piece to sort of lighten the mood again after what we've just been through with phase 4, and before we start phase 5 and whatever that overarching theme is going to be as part of that phase. This is a nice little show to sort of sit back. Like you said, I don't think it really doesn't really lend itself to, like, great analysis or anything like that. It was just a fun show. It had a lot of fun.
I think that's what a lot of these special presentations that we've gotten over the past few months are, in a nutshell, is that, and it's just Disney and the MCU being like, we know how much you love these characters, and so, or how much there's thousands of stories in this universe we can tell, but we can only spend billions of dollars on so few of them. That here's a little nugget there kind of meet that demand that exists. And so I think it's good, and I think it just further proves the mythology that has been developed over the past decade plus with this universe, and how they're able to do that. But yeah, so that just leads me to one question though, Will. What is better? What was better for you, or what would you rank higher, Andor or Peacemaker?
Oh, Andor.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
I was expecting Peacemaker, because you always bring up Peacemaker. I always forget that it happened.
Yeah, no. Oh, it's still Andor. I mean, I'm telling you, I mean, just not to beat it too much, but I was like going back and forth as far as like which one I like more this year, Andor or House of the Dragon. So, but getting back to but yeah, as far as yeah.
Oh, so you would pick Andor over House of the Dragon?
I might. That depends on what day you ask me. I mean, they're really one. It's hard for me to like, because both of them have such.
I just feel like you watched a different version of Andor than I did, because like I said, it's good. I don't think it's that good.
I do.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's why we do this. I mean, we come at it. It would be very boring if you and I agreed on everything.
Yeah, which definitely does not happen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I know today was short, but before we went on break, it was a long one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, the dude gave them 2 weeks, Will. They gave him 2 weeks. Therefore, he's not an amazing villain, but whatever. On that note, Will, why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Will M Polk, WILLMPOLK.
And you can find me at SJ Belmont, SJBELMONT. Please follow our crew on Twitter at SNN Nerd. Friend us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and visit our website, www.snnnerdpodcast.com. But most importantly, rate, follow, and comment on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Good night, Geek Out. You're welcome.